The importance of Awaken the Giant Within and why people should read it. Every once in a while, a book comes along that doesn't just give advice but shakes people awake, challenging them to stop living on autopilot and start consciously designing their lives. Tony Robbins' Awaken the Giant Within is one of those books. First published in 1991, it quickly became an international bestseller and remains a cornerstone of personal development literature. Its message is clear and electrifying. Inside every person lies immense untapped power, the giant, and it's time to awaken it. Why should the average reader care? Because most of us, at some point, feel stuck. We drift through routines, trapped by old habits, limiting beliefs, or fear of failure. We chase success yet still feel unfulfilled. We know we could live at a higher level, but something holds us back. Robbins argues that the gap between where we are and where we want to be is not fate, luck, or talent, it's the decisions we make every day. This book matters because it hands us back control. Robbins insists that in any moment, a single decision can change the direction of your life. Decide to take ownership instead of making excuses. Decide to break a destructive habit. Decide to live according to your values instead of society's expectations. When you make those decisions consistently, you reshape your destiny. Another reason the book is so important is its practicality. Unlike many motivational books that inspire briefly but fade quickly, Awaken the Giant Within gives you tools. Robbins dives into psychology, behavioral science, and real coaching strategies to show how to master your emotions, reprogram your beliefs, set empowering goals, and create lasting change. The lessons are not abstract, they are actionable, and Robbins pushes you to apply them immediately. But beyond strategy, this book strikes at the human heart, the longing to live with purpose. Robbins emphasizes that achievement without fulfillment is the ultimate failure. Many people climb the ladder of success only to discover it's leaning against the wrong wall. Awaken the Giant Within helps you clarify what truly matters to you, your values, your vision, your definition of success, and then align your life accordingly. This is why millions continue to read and recommend the book decades later. In a world filled with distraction, stress, and uncertainty, Robbins' message is timeless. You are not powerless. You have within you the ability to take control of your emotions, your focus, your habits, and ultimately your destiny. If you've ever felt frustrated, stuck, or restless, as though you were capable of more but couldn't quite break through, this book is a wake-up call. It's not about becoming someone else, but about becoming more of who you already are, tapping into the courage, creativity, and strength you already possess. To put it simply, Awaken the Giant Within is important because it teaches us to stop waiting for change and start being the change. It's not just a book you read, it's a book you live. Who is Tony Robbins? To understand Awaken the Giant Within, we must first understand the man behind it, Anthony Robbins. Known worldwide as Tony Robbins, he isn't just an author, he's a coach, entrepreneur, and force of nature whose life story embodies the very principles he teaches. His journey from hardship to global influence makes his message about transformation deeply authentic. Tony Robbins was born in 1960 in Glendora, California, into a working-class family. His childhood was difficult, marked by poverty, instability, and an abusive home environment. By the time he was a teenager, he had multiple stepfathers and took on responsibility for his siblings. He even worked as a janitor, earning $40 a week to help make ends meet. At one point, he and his family were homeless. These struggles could have broken him. Instead, they became the fire that fueled his mission, to help people break free from limitation and take control of their lives. As a young man, Robbins became fascinated with personal development. He devoured books by motivational thinkers like Dale Carnegie, Jim Rohn, and Norman Vincent Peale. At just 17, he attended a seminar by Jim Rohn, a legendary speaker, and it changed his life. Robbins scraped together nearly a week's pay to attend, but it was worth it. Afterward, he approached Rohn and asked to work for him. Soon, Robbins was traveling as Rohn's assistant, learning the art of speaking and coaching firsthand. But Robbins didn't stop there. He blended what he learned with his own relentless energy and research in psychology, neuroscience, and behavioral science. By his early 20s, he was holding his own seminars, bringing an intensity and charisma that set him apart. He became known for his booming voice, electrifying presence, and unique ability to move thousands of people at once from fear to action. Over the years, Robbins built an empire. He authored bestsellers including Unlimited Power, Awaken the Giant Within, and Money, Master the Game. He created audio programs that sold millions worldwide. He founded businesses ranging from coaching and leadership academies to wellness products, sports teams, and even humanitarian initiatives. He has coached presidents, CEOs, athletes, and entertainers, from Bill Clinton to Serena Williams to Oprah Winfrey. Yet despite his celebrity connections, Robbins always emphasizes that his work is not just for the elite, it's for anyone ready to take charge of their life. What makes Robbins unique is his philosophy. He believes that lasting change is not about willpower alone, it's about reshaping the patterns that drive us. Our emotions, beliefs, values, and decisions create our destiny. If we learn to master those, we can transform any area of life: finances, health, relationships, or career. Another cornerstone of his philosophy is state management, the idea that by changing our physiology, how we move, breathe, focus, we can instantly change how we feel and perform. This is why his live seminars often include high-energy activities like dancing, clapping, and even firewalking. These aren't gimmicks, they're designed to break patterns and anchor new beliefs. Beyond business and personal development, Robbins is also a philanthropist. Through the Anthony Robbins Foundation, now the Tony Robbins Foundation, he has provided millions of meals to the hungry, supported youth programs, and sponsored global humanitarian projects. He is as passionate about giving as he is about achieving. Today, Robbins is often called the world's #1 life and business strategist. But titles aside, his story is proof of his core message: your past does not determine your future. He went from poverty and pain to abundance and influence, not because of luck, but because of decisions, mindset shifts, and relentless action. When you read Awaken the Giant Within, you're not just reading theories, you're hearing the voice of a man who has lived through struggle, reinvented himself, and helped millions do the same. Tony Robbins is not just a motivational speaker. He's a living example that the giant within us can be awakened. No matter where we start. The purpose of Awaken the Giant Within. Every book is born from a problem it seeks to solve. For Tony Robbins, the problem he saw everywhere was that most people settle for far less than they are capable of. They drift through life on autopilot, reacting instead of creating, enduring instead of thriving. They allow habits, fears, and limiting beliefs to control them, forgetting that they hold the power to design their own future. Robbins wrote Awaken the Giant Within to remind people of this truth. You already have the power to shape your destiny. The giant is the extraordinary potential within you, waiting to be awakened. His mission was to give readers the tools to tap into that potential, not someday, not when circumstances improve, but now. At its core, the book addresses 3 universal struggles. The struggle with decisions. Most people don't realize that their destiny is shaped not by conditions but by decisions. Every choice, what to focus on, what things mean, what actions to take, creates a ripple effect. Yet many drift without making conscious decisions, letting life happen to them. Robbins wanted to teach people how to harness the power of decision to direct their lives. The struggle with emotions. We all experience fear, doubt, anger, and sadness. Left unmanaged, these emotions sabotage our success. Robbins' purpose was to show that emotions are not random, they can be mastered. By learning to control our emotional state, we can create energy, confidence, and resilience on demand. The struggle with fulfillment. Achievement alone doesn't guarantee happiness. Many people reach material success but still feel empty. Robbins wrote the book to help people clarify their values and align their goals with what truly matters, so they could experience not just success, but lasting fulfillment. Another purpose of the book was to demystify change. People often believe transformation takes years. But Robbins argued that change can happen in an instant, at the moment you decide. He wanted to break the myth of slow, painful progress and replace it with a message of empowerment, with the right strategies. Anyone can create lasting breakthroughs quickly. But Robbins' purpose wasn't only individual, it was also collective. He believed that if enough people awakened their potential, they could transform families, communities, and even nations. A world full of people living at their highest potential would be a world with more compassion, creativity, and contribution. That's why this book isn't just about motivation, it's about mastery. Robbins didn't want readers to feel inspired for a few days and then slip back into old patterns. He wanted to give them tools, step-by-step strategies to master emotions, beliefs, values, and actions, so that the changes would last. In short, the purpose of Awaken the Giant Within is to serve as both a wake-up call and a handbook for transformation. It shakes you out of complacency and then shows you how to take control of your life, emotionally, mentally, financially, and spiritually. Robbins' goal is not just to help you achieve more, but to help you live with more purpose, passion, and joy. The key lessons, how to apply them, and real-life illustrations. 1. The power of decision. The lesson. Robbins argues that destiny is shaped not by conditions, but by decisions. In any moment, one decision can change your life. Decisions determine what you focus on, what things mean, and what actions you take. Most people drift, waiting for circumstances to improve. Highly effective people, Robbins says, decide, and in deciding, they take back control. How to apply. Ask yourself daily, what decision can I make today that will move me closer to my vision? When faced with fear, shift the question from, what if I fail? To, what if I succeed? Make decisions quickly but stick to them consistently. Clarity comes from action. Illustration. Oprah Winfrey often credits a single decision as a turning point, choosing to own her voice authentically on television instead of copying traditional anchors. That choice shaped her career and empire. Similarly, Robbins himself decided as a broke janitor to invest nearly a week's pay in a seminar, an act that changed his life forever. 2. Mastering your emotions. The lesson. Emotions drive behavior. Robbins teaches that by changing your state, your physiology, focus, and language, you can instantly change how you feel. You don't have to be a slave to anger, fear, or doubt. You can create confidence, passion, and joy on demand. How to apply. Physiology. Stand tall, breathe deeply, move with energy. Your body affects your mind. Focus. What you focus on expands. Focus on gratitude and possibility, not problems. Language. Change the words you use. Instead of, I'm devastated, try, I'm a bit challenged right now. Words shape feelings. Illustration. Serena Williams, one of the greatest athletes in history, often uses rituals, power poses, affirmations, controlled breathing, to manage her state before matches. By controlling her emotions, she channels pressure into peak performance. 3. Beliefs and the stories we tell ourselves. The lesson. Beliefs are the stories we repeatedly tell ourselves about what is possible. Empowering beliefs give us wings. Limiting beliefs chain us down. Robbins insists that to change your life, you must question old beliefs and replace them with ones that serve your vision. How to apply. Identify one limiting belief, e.g., I'm not good enough. Ask, is this belief based on truth, or just on fear? Replace it with an empowering belief, I am resourceful enough to figure things out. Reinforce it daily through affirmations, journaling, or visualization. Illustration. J.K. Rowling was rejected by 12 publishers before Harry Potter was accepted. She could have believed, I'm not a real writer. Instead, she held onto the belief, my story matters. That belief changed her life, and millions of readers' lives. 4. Values. The compass of fulfillment. The lesson. Achievement without fulfillment is failure. Robbins emphasizes that clarity of values is essential. Many people chase goals that conflict with their true values, which leads to emptiness. By knowing what you value most, you can align your goals with your soul. How to apply. List your top 10 values, e.g. love, freedom, growth, health, family. Rank them in order of priority. Ask, are my daily actions aligned with my top values? If not, adjust. Illustration. Howard Schultz, founder of Starbucks, built the company not just on profit but on values, community, quality, and connection. Because his goals aligned with his values, he created a brand that resonated globally. 5. Questions are the answer. The lesson. The questions you ask shape your life. Robbins calls them the control mechanism of the mind. Negative questions, why'd I always fail, bring negative answers. Empowering questions, what can I learn here, bring empowering solutions. How to apply. Adopt Robbins' morning power questions. What am I happy about in my life now? What am I proud of? What am I committed to? When facing problems, ask, what's great about this? What can I do now? Illustration. Thomas Edison, after thousands of failed experiments, didn't ask, why'd I keep failing? He asked, what else can I try? That empowering question led to the invention of the light bulb. 6. Goal setting and the power of vision. The lesson. Without a vision, people perish. Robbins insists that clear, compelling goals pull us forward. Goals should be specific, inspiring, and tied to your values. Vague desires create vague results. Clear goals create momentum. How to apply. Write your top 3 to 5 life goals with specific deadlines. Use visualization. See yourself already living them. Break each goal into small daily actions. Celebrate progress along the way. Illustration. Arnold Schwarzenegger, before becoming a movie star or governor, first visualized himself as Mr. Olympia. He carried that vision for years, training daily with the certainty it would happen. That clarity drove his success across multiple fields. 7. Mastering finances and decisions about money. The lesson. Money itself is not the goal, freedom is. Robbins teaches that financial mastery comes not from luck but from consistent decisions. Spending less than you earn, investing wisely, and seeing money as a tool for contribution, not just consumption. How to apply. Set a percentage of income for saving, investing. Educate yourself on financial basics. Tie money goals to values, e.g. freedom, security, giving. Illustration. Robbins himself grew up in poverty and later became a philanthropist feeding millions annually. His shift came when he decided as a young man to give his last few dollars to help another family in need. That act transformed his financial mindset from scarcity to abundance. 8. Contribution and growth. The ultimate fulfillment. The lesson. The ultimate purpose of life is not just achievement, but contribution. Robbins emphasizes that true fulfillment comes from giving, from growing beyond yourself, and from serving others. How to apply. Commit to one act of kindness daily. Mentor someone, volunteer, or donate regularly. Frame success not just as, what did I get, but, what did I give? Illustration. Mother Teresa lived this principle fully. She owned little, yet changed the lives of millions. Her fulfillment came not from wealth or recognition, but from serving the poorest of the poor. Pulling it all together. Robbins' core message is that by mastering decisions, emotions, beliefs, values, focus, goals, and contribution, you can awaken the giant within you. The book is not about theory, it's about daily practice. Decide boldly. Control your state. Change your story. Align with values. Ask better questions. Set clear goals. Master money. Live to give. Applied consistently, these principles transform not only your own life but also the lives of everyone you touch. The final takeaway and inspirational message. When you turn the last page of Awaken the Giant Within, you don't walk away with just information, you walk away with an invitation. An invitation to stop living as though life is something happening to you and start living as though life is something happening for you. Tony Robbins' message is bold but simple. You already have the power to change your life. Not someday, not when conditions are perfect, not after you've earned more money or gotten more recognition, but right now. The giant within you is not asleep because you lack talent, it's asleep because you haven't demanded more of yourself. This book is a wake-up call to make that demand. The ultimate takeaway is that your destiny is not written in your circumstances but in your choices. The decisions you make about what to focus on, what things mean, and what actions to take create the trajectory of your life. If you decide to step into courage, gratitude, and purpose, your life will begin to transform immediately. But Robbins goes beyond achievement. He reminds us that achievement without fulfillment is the greatest failure. True success is living in alignment with your values, mastering your emotions, setting goals that inspire you, and contributing to something greater than yourself. In the end, fulfillment comes not from what you get, but from who you become and what you give. Imagine living each day with energy instead of fatigue, clarity instead of confusion, confidence instead of doubt. Imagine pursuing goals that truly matter to you, breaking free from limiting beliefs, and knowing that no matter what happens, you can handle it. That's the life Robbins calls us to build, and it's available to every single one of us. The final message is both empowering and humbling. The giant is already within you. You don't need to wait for someone to give you permission. You don't need to wait for a miracle. You don't need to wait for a new year, a new job, or a new relationship. You can awaken it today, by making new decisions, taking new actions, and living with new standards. So here's the call to action. Decide who you want to be. Take charge of your emotions. Replace limiting beliefs with empowering ones. Align your goals with your deepest values. Ask better questions. Give, contribute, and grow. Do this consistently, and you won't just awaken the giant within, you'll live as the giant you were always meant to be. Because in the end, life is not about waiting for power to appear. It's about realizing the power has been inside you all along.